Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So welcome. First day of Kartik, Ki Jai. So we're hearing, actually the verses are very appropriate to the mood or what we're trying to understand in Kartik, this Kartik month. This is entitled, Durvasa Muni's Life is Spared. And this is the conclusion of this section. So it's Canto 9, Chapter 5, Text 26. Shri Sukha Uvacha Atambarishas Tanayeshu Rajyam Samana Shileshu Visrijadira Vadam Visheshatmani Vasudeve Manodadadvasta Guna Pravaha Shri Sukuvacha. Shri Sukadeva Goswami said, Ata, in this way, Ambarisha, King Ambarish, Tanayeshu, unto his sons, Rajan, the kingdom, Samana Shileshu, who were equally qualified as their father, Visrijya, dividing, Dhiraha, the most learned person, Maharaj Ambarish. Vanam, into the forest, Vivesha, entered, Atmani, unto the Supreme Lord, Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, who is known as Vasudeva. Manaha, mind. Dadat, concentrating. Dvashta, vanquished. Guna pravaha, the waves, the material modes of nature. So it's very beautiful. It says that in this way, in other words, concluding this whole story of Maharaj Ambarish, he's done so many things that we've heard, so many wonderful things, and now something else is going to happen. But after all of this, Tanayeshu, unto his sons, Rajam, he's turning over the kingdom to his sons. And this is very wonderful. All of his sons are described as Samana Shileshu. They're equally qualified as their father. That's the success of the father, is to have sons that are hopefully more qualified. Srila Prabhupada, sometimes in his humility, he would say, if I can just make one pure devotee, they can deliver me. In the story of Dhruva Maharaj, he actually says, he describes how Dhruva Maharaj delivered his mother. And in his great humility, he says, I think that I'm not so qualified, but if I could have one devotee, pure devotee, maybe they would deliver me. So anyway, Maharaj Ambarish, he has such equally qualified, Samana, equally, Shileshu. It's hard to imagine anyone who could be as qualified as Maharaj Ambarish. They were equally qualified. So he divided the kingdom, Visrijya, and then Maharaj Ambarish is also described here as Dhira, which means, we often hear that is described as sober. But sober also, it means that he's seeing things as they are. He sees the material world as it is, and he's not disturbed or bewildered. So therefore this is also translated as the most learned person. And what did he do? Vanam Vishesha. He went to the forest. And why did he go to the forest? Atmani Vasudeva, to meditate, mana dada, to give his mind, or to focus his mind on meditating on Krishna. This was his only business at this stage. He'd done everything. Now his only business is to go to the forest, to go to Vrindavan, and think of Krishna. And then it's further described, Dvasta Guneshu Pravaha, this meditating or this deep concentration on Krishna vanquishes all the waves of the modes of material nature. It's the final finish of all material consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada's translation, Sri Sukadev Goswami continued, thereafter, because of his advanced position in devotional life, Maharaj Ambarish, who no longer desired to live with material things, retired from active family life. He divided his property among his sons, who were equally qualified, and he himself took the order of Vanaprastha and went to the forest to concentrate his mind fully upon Lord Vasudeva. So we can repeat, please. Srila Sukadev Goswami continued. Thereafter, because of his advanced position in devotional life, Maharaj Ambarish, who no longer desired to live with material things, retired from active family life. He divided his property among his sons, who were equally as qualified, and he himself took the order of Vanaprastha and went to the forest to concentrate his mind fully upon Lord Vasudeva. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. As a pure devotee, Maharaj Ambarish was liberated in any condition of life because, as enunciated by Srila Rupa Goswami, a devotee is always liberated. Iha yasya harirdasyai karmana manasa gira Nikilasva Pyavastasu Jivan Mukta Sauchate. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami thus instructs that if one's only desire is service to the Lord, he is liberated in any condition of life. Maharaj Ambarish was undoubtedly liberated in any condition. But as an ideal king, he accepted the Vanaprastha order of retirement from family life. It is essential for one to renounce family responsibilities and fully concentrate on the lotus feet of Vasudeva. Therefore, Maharaj Ambarish divided the kingdom among his sons and retired from family life. The last verse in this section, I'm giving away tomorrow's verse, but it's nice to note this, that anyone who chants this narration or even thinks of this narration about the activities of Maharaj Ambarish certainly becomes a pure devotee of the Lord. So that's the blessings of hearing this. Om Gyana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshunum Nalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhisam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Swabarantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaisnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Zavadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakanditam Sha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So I have to admit it's kind of frightening for me to give Bhagavatam class here in the center of the universe. So anyway, I ask for your blessings, especially the blessings of all my senior God sisters, God brothers, so I can say something that will inspire us. So it's interesting that Srila Prabhupada immediately, although it's stated here that Maharaj Ambarish, he finished his life and he took, it's described here, Vanaprast, Vanam Visheshatmani, it's translated as Vanaprast ashram. He entered the forest, he left his life. But Srila Prabhupada immediately points out that it wasn't actually necessary for him. He didn't have to do this, and it wasn't even necessarily a further advancement for him. He did this as to show the example that this is what one is supposed to do, one should do in their progressive journey on the spiritual path. But actually, he didn't have to do this. He was already fully dedicated to the service of the Lord, and he already possessed all good qualities. We heard yesterday how, because he was always serving Krishna without any material desires, this practical service that he was doing throughout his life, he was fully realized as Brahman, Paramatman, Bhagavan. Because of his practical activities and devotional service, his mood of service, surrender, this alone, this bhakti, gave him realization of Brahman. Paramatma, he understood that Paramatma was always there within his heart. He had Paramatma realization. And finally, he had realization of Bhagavan. He actually could perceive the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So his life was practically speaking, perfect. And so what need was there for him to do this? Nevertheless, he did. So I thought at this stage, this is kind of the end of our narration, it would be nice to just kind of recap some of the story and try to understand the qualities of Maharaj Ambarish. And in the beginning of this narration, there are some very, very famous verses that Srila Prabhupada often quotes that we can remember. And these are the principles of Maharaj Ambarish's qualities, why he was the person he was. First of all, it's mentioned that Sukadeva Goswami, when he's telling this story, he says that this king was cursed by a brahmana, a very powerful brahmana. This brahmana we read just recently, Durvasa Muni, was so powerful that he could, at will, he could just travel to Brahmaloka. He could just go there, he could go to Brahmaloka, he could go anywhere. And we read also how when he became angry at Maharaj Ambarish, he just pulled some hair from his head, dashed it on the ground, and created this powerful demon. So, not even an ordinary brahmana. He was cursed by a very extremely powerful brahmana. But he says, but nothing happened. He was saved from that curse. Nothing really happened because of his devotion. So immediately Parikshit Maharaj thought, well, what's the story here? Let's hear this. Let's take a little pause in the narration and let's hear about Maharaj Ambarish. So we've had these two wonderful chapters of the Bhagavatam that describe him. And Srila Prabhupada would often quote these verses at the beginning of this narration that describe how Maharaj Ambarish performed all 9 processes of devotional service. It's mentioned also in Nectar of Devotion. So, of course, these verses, Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindeo, this was his first qualification. He always placed his mind on Krishna, at the lotus feet of Krishna. Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindeyor. And Vachamsi, he used his words, Vaikunta Gunanuvarnane, to describe the glories of the Lord of Vaikunta. He always used his words in speaking about Krishna. Yesterday we heard about the instructions of Mahaprabhu, and one of them was Gramya Kata Nashinibe, Gramya Varta Nakahibe. So Maharaj Ambarish had that example. He didn't speak Gramya Kata or Prajalpa, we call it. But he always used his words in speaking about Krishna. This is very exceptional for a leader, a ruler, a political person. It's amazing. It's exceptional for anyone. But consider this for the ruler. Actually, he ruled the whole world. He only spoke about Krishna. Karer Herer Mandir Marjanadi Shu. And although he's the king of the world, what did he do with his hands? He used them to clean the temple. This was his activity. He simply cleaned the temple. And Shrutim, in his ears, Chakara Chitta Satkatoreya. He heard the pure transcendental topics of Achyuta, of Krishna, this Satkata, or Krishna Kata. He was always engaged in hearing these things. And Mukunda Lingalaya Darshane Visho, he would always use his eyes to see the beautiful deities of Krishna, the beautiful form of Krishna. Tadbritchigatra Sparshenga Sangamam. This is wonderful. It's one of the most wonderful things about coming to Vrindavan during Kartik is that there's so many devotees to hug, isn't it? So this is actually the proper use of our senses, is to embrace devotees. So he used his sense of touch in touching the bodies of devotees. Granam chitat pada saroja sarave shimat tulyasya rasanam tarapate. And he used his sense of smell in smelling the tulsi leaves that were offered to Krishna. Pado harakshetra padanu sarpane. He used his legs in going to the temple. And shiro, this is wonderful. What's the best use of the head? We have these wonderful heads. What's the best use? So it said here, the best thing to do is to put it on the ground. Put your wonderful head on the ground before the deity. Shiro Rishikesha Padanu Sarpane. Simply offer obeisances at the lotus feet of the Lord, placing our head on the ground, placing our whole body on the ground. It's the best use of our big heads. Kamam chidasye natu kama kami. This is wonderful. So how is it possible that someone can live like this? It has to be a very deep thing. Burijana Prabhu yesterday was stressing this point over and over again, that our devotional service can't be superficial. If we're superficially serving Krishna, but in our hearts something else is going on, then we won't be able to stay as devotees. We will be drawn away. And we won't be satisfied with devotional service. It won't fulfill our hearts. If we're chanting Hare Krishna with our mouths, but in our hearts and in our minds are, I want this, I want this, I want this, that kind of devotional service can't possibly satisfy us. So we have to somehow or other hear nicely enough that our heart becomes changed and we actually want to serve Krishna. This is the great journey of our lives. Through millions and millions of births, we're trying to enjoy the material world, and even coming to devotional service, we still have this, at least I can speak personally, can't speak for others, but have this desire, this deep-rooted desire to somehow or other enjoy the material world. So our struggle, our only struggle really, is to how to change that desire into a genuine desire to serve Krishna. That's all. That's all we're trying to accomplish through all the study of the Shastra. So, and it doesn't mean giving up desire. Prabhupada explains this again and again. We don't have to give up desires, but we have to change the quality of our desire. Instead of desiring for our personal satisfaction or welfare, so on and so forth, we need to desire to serve Krishna. So so Maharaj, then one can live a life like this very happily. One can very happily and joyfully drive their satisfaction. Their happiness comes from chanting Hare Krishna, from serving Krishna. So it's simply stated, Kamam chidasye natu kama kamiya, because he used his desires to satisfy Krishna, to serve Krishna, not to kama kamiya, not for his own benefit, not to become famous, not to become recognized, not to go to the heavenly planets. That was the conclusion of this whole section, was that Maharaj Ambarish considered hell and heaven to be the same. There's really no difference between going to heaven or hell, because they're both temporary situations and they don't satisfy the heart. And we can be taken away from any of them. So it's considered a will-o'-the-wisp. Yeah, we heard that nice verse. Kaivalyam narakayate chigachapur akashapushpayate. For one who is yat karunya kataksha vaibhavatam tam goram evastumasa, for someone who's received the merciful sidelong glance of Lord Gora. This is the qualification, somehow or other to receive the merciful glance of Lord Gora. Then these qualifications develop, is that they're no longer interested in liberation. Kaivalyam narakayate, it appears to be hell. Actually, our material conditioning and our desire to enjoy the material world makes it either we want to enjoy the material world or we're fearful. One of the two, where we become overwhelmed by fear. So because of this fear, because we know we're frail and we can be finished, so therefore we're looking for salvation. Let me get out of here, let me become safe. But for one who has the merciful glance of Lord Gora, this Kaivalyam is no longer interesting, and the heavenly pleasures seem like flowers in the sky in this way. And Vidhi Mahendradish Chakitayate, and either Vidhi, Lord Brahma, or Lord Indra, their position becomes no more significant than that of a small insect. So this is what happens when one gets the mercy of Lord Gauranga. So Maharaj Ambarish had these qualifications. So anyone who's managed can't imagine how could you live a life like this. I remember I had a duration as a temple president. I was a temple president for 10 years, somehow or other, despite not being qualified to manage. I'd been in the place long enough, so become the temple president. So, and I was always full of anxiety. Where's money? How will I pay the bills, right? You know, oh, this devotee did this, what will we do? So much anxiety. I certainly wasn't Savai Manag Krishna Padara Vinayo. And I heard Srila Prabhupada, I was listening to a class and Srila Prabhupada said, so we have so many temples and so many properties, but we have no anxiety. And I thought, oh, there's a little difference between my vision and Srila Prabhupada's vision. Just a little bit. So I had one little tiny temple and I was filled with anxiety. So, yeah, so one might ask, how can one who's actually managing have such qualifications? Well, or be able to think like this? Well, they can if they're qualified, like Maharaj Ambarish. But it's also described that because he was such a powerful devotee, the qualities of his devotion affected the hearts of all of his citizens. His devotion was such that when people saw him, they became devotees. They were also no longer interested in sense gratification or liberation. Just by being with him, he was so powerful. So this made it extremely easy to manage because the whole world, the citizens are unhappy. They want more and more and more, and they can't. Their desires are always unfulfilled. They're angry. They're envious. This is the situation of the world generally. And where's the possibility of peace? Everyone we live with wants what we have, or we want what they have, and they're envious. How's it possible? Is it possible to live a peaceful life? So this is one reason that Maharaj Ambarish was such a great devotee that his citizens also became great devotees, and his sons, as described. And they also had no more desire for liberation or for sense gratification, for going to the heavenly planets. They simply aspired for pure devotional service. So, in this way, Maharaj Ambarish ruled, and he had all of these wonderful qualities. And it was put to the test. It wasn't like he was just sitting there somewhere peacefully chanting, yes, I'm a great devotee. And then some mosquito comes and commits a maha aparad on myself. I have to retaliate. So it was not like that. His devotion was put to the test in the form of Durvasa Muni. And Durvasa Muni came, and he was very, didn't like that he was so worshipped as a pure devotee. And he became somehow or other envious of him. And, you know, brought forth this demon. And Ambarish, as we heard yesterday, just didn't do anything. He didn't respond. He wasn't, you know. I was thinking about this, you know, how many of us have a story of how we were offended? Isn't it? This devotee treated me like this, and I didn't deserve it. I'm a pure Vaishnava, and they treated me this way, and I was banned from ISKCON, or this thing or that. You know, sometimes we carry these stories with us for years and years and years. So just consider the story of Maharaj Ambarish. He certainly was a pure devotee, and this powerful Brahmana, you know, who is certainly one of the leaders of the entire universe. He was so powerful, he could just fly to Brahmaloka. And he just got angry and, you know, was ready to kill him, actually ready to finish him off. So, but he actually took no offense. So it's inconceivable. It's really inconceivable how he could take no offense. He didn't try to defend himself, but I didn't mean it, but, you know, the Brahmanas said, or, you know, nothing like this. So, so his devotion was actually put to the acid test. And even when Durvasa Muni came back, he went to see Lord Brahma. Brahma said, sorry, can't save you. Went to see Lord Shiva, sorry, can't save you. Went to Narayan. Narayan said, my heart, sadhavo hridayam bhayam. My heart's in the hearts of devotees. So you have to go back there. I can't. I'm not independent. Yasvatantreva dvija. Oh, Brahmana, I'm not independent. I'm controlled by my devotees. So you have to go back and beg forgiveness. So it's described that when Durvasa Muni came back, he fell at the lotus feet of Maharaj Ambarish, and Maharaj Ambarish was horrified. He was, wait, what are you doing? You know, you're a great Brahmana. What are what are you doing? But then he's, you know, saw that Sudarshan Chakra is there just waiting. So he offered prayers, and his prayers are also wonderful. He's saying to the Sudarshan Chakra, he said, if anybody in my family has ever done anything good, if we've ever done any nice sacrifice or any services, if there's anything that we've ever done to please you, then please accept that as an offering. Please accept this as an offering and spare this Durvasa Muni, this Brahmana. So it's amazing. And it's also described that he was fasting for 1 year. He was waiting for him to come back and take his meal. He was just drinking water for 1 year. So these are really inconceivable things, the quality of such a devotee. And we see how he also turned, just by his qualities, he turned all others into devotees. So we can rightly see how Srila Prabhupada, in his purport here, he immediately says that, yeah, he left family life and went to the forest, but he didn't need to. He didn't have to do that. It's not further advancement for him. He was already a fully renounced, fully devoted soul. He did this just to set an example. So these are some glories of Maharaj Ambarish we can consider, especially during this Kartik month. We hear again and again in the prayers that we sing every evening, what is it? Varam Deva Moksha and the Mokshamadimva. That you can give liberation, but I'm not interested in that. Just let my mind be filled with thoughts of Govinda. Let that solve. Let me just, that's my only prayer, is that my mind, my heart would be filled with thoughts of Govinda, of Lord Krishna. I don't want a heavenly kingdom. I don't want liberation. I'm not interested in any of these things. So this is the benediction that we get by worshiping the Lord during the Kartik month. So it's actually fitting to hear the story of Maharaj Ambarish coming into this. So Dharmatma Prabhu, who ordered me to give class, suggested also that we could speak a little bit about the glories of Kartik. So I wanted to conclude, we just have a few minutes, but I wanted to conclude, we could hear something about, about Kartik month, especially here in Vrindavan, and how we can develop these qualities that we've been hearing about. So I'd like to just read a couple of things, discuss a couple of things. Srila Prabhupada, in the Nectar of Devotion, he speaks about the glories of Kartik. And he says, one of the most important of these ceremonial functions is Urjavrata. Urjavrata is observed in the month of Kartik, October, November, especially in Vrindavan, Vrindavan Dham Ki. There is a specific program for temple worship of the Lord in his Damodar form. Damodar refers to Krishna's being bound with rope by his mother Yashoda. It is said that just as Lord Damodar is very dear to his devotees, so the month known as Damodar or Kartik is also very dear to them. The execution of devotional service during Urjavrata in the month of Kartik is especially recommended to be performed at Mathura. This system is still followed by many devotees, many more and more and more devotees. Can hardly get into the temple. They go to Mathura or Vrindavan and stay there during the month of Kartik, specifically to perform devotional services during this period. In the Padma Purana it is said, the Lord may offer liberation or material happiness to a devotee, but after some devotional service has been executed, particularly in Mathura during the month of Kartik, the devotees want only to attain pure devotional service unto the Lord. The purport is that the Lord does not award devotional service to ordinary persons who are not serious about it. But, this is good news, but even such unserious persons who execute devotional service according to the regulative principles during the month of Kartik and within the jurisdiction of Mathura, India, are very easily awarded the Lord's personal service. So this is very wonderful that we may have different desires, but the real benefit of worshiping the Lord in Vrindavan during Kartik is that we become freed from those desires, and that we just want to engage in the service of Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada says that even if we're not so serious, one time Srila Prabhupada said, all my disciples are sincere, but they're not all serious. So even if we're not so serious, somehow or other we're here in Vrindavan, the mercy of Srimati Radharani, otherwise how could we be here? We're here in Vrindavan during Kartik, so if we simply offer a lamp to Krishna, if we chant as sincerely as we can, then the benediction is that we gradually become freed from material desires. This is benediction we're looking for. And we desire only service for Krishna. I'll read a couple more. Pure devotional service to me, which, because it places me under my devotee's dominion, is very difficult to attain, is easily attained by following this vow in Mathura during Kartik. To they who worship Krishna in Vrindavan, the Lord gives them their original spiritual forms. The perfect atonement to purify sins of a lifetime is to worship Lord Damodar in Vrindavan during the month of Kartik. The month of Kartik spent in Vrindavan brings the supreme destination. So this is a statement of Rupa Goswami. And it also says, in the month of Kartik, which is very dear to Sri Hari, one who bathes early in the morning attains the merit of bathing in all the holy places of pilgrimage. Isn't that nice? You just get up in the morning and take a bath, which we do anyway. Just by getting up in the morning and taking a bath, you're getting the benefit of bathing in all of the holy places. Isn't that wonderful? This is benediction. Sometimes they say Kartik is like everything's on sale, right? Devotional service is very easy. So just by taking a bath, one derives the merit of bathing in all of the holy places. As Satya Yuga is the best of yugas, As the Vedas are the best of scriptures, as Ganga is the best of rivers, so Kartik is the best of months. It is the most dear to Lord Krishna. And just one more. It says Kartik is the best, the purest of purifiers. Of all purifiers, Kartik is the best, and most glorious of all months. Kartik month is particularly dear to Lord Krishna. And again, this is Srila Sanatana Goswami. He's saying this. This is a wonderful point. He says, this Kartik month is full of bhakti-vatsalya. Isn't that wonderful? Think of Lord Krishna and his dealing with Mother Yashoda. You know, she just wants to serve Krishna as her son. You know, he's stealing. He's a naughty boy. Whoops, almost done. He's a naughty boy. He'll grow up to be a bad person. I have to give him a lesson. So she's full of this Vatsalya ras. So this Vatsalya is there, and Krishna is so easily giving himself in this month. Any vrata, even the smallest, will yield huge results. The effect of performing Kartik Vrata lasts for 100 lifetimes. Pretty good, huh? Whereas ordinary vratas only last for one lifetime. Do you know who the presiding deity of Kartik is? Everybody know? Srimati Radharani. This is Sanatana Goswami. Srimati Radhika is the presiding deity of the holy month of Kartik. Rupa Goswami and others referred to Radharani as Kartik Devi. Kartik Devi ki jai. In other words, Radhika is the goddess or presiding deity of Kartik Vrata. Jai. So, Hare Krishna. I guess we can stop here. So, should we take any discussion or should we stop? I think we should stop, huh? Anyway, no questions. Let's stop. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Vrindavan Dham ki, Maharaj Ambarish ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.